Good day, everyone. On behalf of Group 5, I'm going to discuss the importance of virginity or miswage versus sowing wild oats. The concept of virginity and its cultural significance varies widely across societies, often carrying deep rooted historical, religious, and social connotations. In Japanese culture, particularly in the context of the historical practice of miswage, virginity held a specific and ritualistic importance. Conversely, the idea of sowing wild oats represents a contrasting perspective on sexual activity and experiences, often associated with more liberal attitudes towards premarital sexual relationships. Mizwage is a historical practice in Japan involving the ceremonial loss of a young woman's virginity as a rite of passage into womanhood or her profession. This event was significant, cultural, and economic as it marked the transition from a trainee to a full fledged courtesan. The practice symbolized purity, a fresh start in the courtesan's career, and virginity was seen as a valuable asset. It also indicated her readiness to enter adult relationships and responsibilities. Ms. Wage was often a financial transaction that often benefited the girl's family or the establishment where she was trained, underscoring the economic dimensions of virginity in the context of geisha and courtesan culture. Sowing wild oats, on the other hand, is an idiomatic expression referring to promiscuous sexual activity by young men before settling down. This concept is associated with liberal attitudes, particularly in Western cultures, which encourage youth to explore their sexuality freely without immediate commitments. Proponents argue that this phase is crucial for personal development, allowing individuals to understand their desires and preferences before entering a committed relationship. However, historically, the idea of sowing wild oats has been more acceptable for men, reflecting a gender double standard in sexual behavior. Virginity and its significance, whether through the historical lens of Mizwage or the idea of sowing wild oats, reflect broader cultural attitudes towards sexuality, gender roles, and personal identity. I hope this infographic will serve as an educational tool for you to be able to understand these practices, which provides insight into how societies navigate the complex intersections of tradition, economics, and individual autonomy in the realm of sexual behavior. Thank you.
Good day, my name is Hannah Gwen M. Forcado, and my part is to define and enumerate issues in miswage and sowing wild oats. Miswage means the coming of age ceremony, whereas the selling of a geisha's virginity for money, while sowing wild oats means to have many sexual relationships, particularly when you are young. And the issues that women may encounter in miswage practice are power imbalance, where men in these relationships have more resources and influence. Young women may have difficulty to resist unwanted sexual advances. Another are child trafficking and prostitution. While in sowing wild oats practice, the issues are teenage pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, stigma and low self esteem, and mental health issues.
Good day, everyone. My name is Kenneth Walisisi, and I'm going to report which school of thought on feminism best explains the issue of the sowing wild oats and Mizu wage. So, first, the cultural feminist theory. The issue pertains to sowing wild oats theory argues that cultural norms often disadvantage women, and in Mizu wage, the dominance theory. It is a practice in a patriarchal society where it is customary that men have the resources and influence and bidding for a woman's virginity were being seen as a right. That's all, and thank you.
Now we're going to talk about the rights and the laws of women that are being violated by the act of the practice of Mizwage and the sowing of wild oats. First is the right to bodily autonomy, as the practice of Mizwage is essentially a coming of age ceremony between four 15 to 20-year-old women training to be a geisha. They must undergo a Mizwage, where their virginity will be sold to the highest bidder. Um, the highest bidder for them to financially sponsor the Maikos or the geishas in training. This violates their right to bodily autonomy as they have no control to who will bid the highest bid on who and who will have their virginity. Next is the right to freedom from exploitation. As I said, Maicos are geishas in training. They are being supervised by fully pledged geisha and a person they call mother. These two are the ones who supervised and I guess endorsed the Mizuwage to the men. Um, the commercialization of the Maicos virginity is a form of sexual exploitation. This practice shows women as a commodity to be bid upon rather than a person who have her own rights, dignity, and her own choice. Next is the right to equality and non-discrimination. This violates our very own constitution, specifically the Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution. By upholding the notion that a woman's worth is derived on her sexual purity and that her body may be exchanged for money, the practice of Mizwage perpetuates gender inequity and a prejudice for a woman's job. This is counter to the Constitution's guarantee of non-discrimination, excuse me, and gender equality. This may also apply or um, being violated by the sowing of wild oats as society often discriminate women who are the virginized to be liberated and to be too shameful and loose. They are being discriminated upon being them liberated. Next is the right to protection from exploitation. This also violates the Constitution, specifically the Article 15, Section 3, Paragraph 2. The state will defend the right of children to children to assistance, including a proper care, special protection for all forms of neglect, or abuse and other conditions that may be prejudicial to their development. Miswage is considered an abuse and exploitation as it involves young women. Um, a young woman's right to or particular protection against exploitation and circumstances that hinder their development is being violated by this practice. Next is the expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act or Republic Act number 1186-2. This law is being violated as the practice of Mizuwage uses coercion and take advantage of a young woman's vulnerability um, um, to obtain financial support in exchange for her virginity. Lastly, is the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse and Exploitation and Discrimination Act, or the Republic Act 7610. This states that the Section 5 states that children, male or female, for money, profit, or due to coercion or influence of any adult, indulge in sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct are deemed to be children exploited in prostitution and other sexual abuse. As I said, Mizuwage is a coming of age ceremony for 15 and 20-year-old. They are still considered a child in the eyes of law as the legal age is 18. So that's all. Thank you.
For the last part, I will discuss the social legislations enacted to promote the welfare of women. which consequently resolves the issues previously mentioned, such as Mizwage, sowing wild oats, and the stigma against de-virginized women. The first law is the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. It lays the groundwork for sex education. It is through this that we inform young people about sexual health and consent. It can help in preventing the exploitation that fuels Mizwage, and at the same time to reduce the stigma around sexual history of women. The second law is the Philippine AIDS Prevention and Control Act. Although this law is focused on HIV and AIDS, it still promotes responsible sexual behavior and empowers individuals to protect themselves. This can indirectly challenge the sowing wild oats mentality and encourage respect for sexual partners. The third law, and probably the most important of them all, is the Magna Carta of Women. This law protects women from gender based violence and promotes equality. This law combats the underlying attitudes that create stigma against de-virginized women and, excuse me, at the same time, this law empowers them to seek help if they are in case exploited. After an in-depth analysis of the social legislations, the group has come to realize that these laws may be comprehensive in their subject matter. It may be enacted after careful study of the issues mentioned. However, there are still lacking elements which are necessary in completely eradicating the issues. Hence, the group would still recommend the following courses of action listed here. Starting with the empowerment of the law enforcement, because regardless of how good the laws that we enact, if we fail to implement them and execute them, the efforts of the legislative branch would be futile. We could do this by increasing the funding of law enforcement agencies in investigating and prosecuting violations in relation to the issues. We could also expand the training program for law enforcement officers and improve collaboration between law enforcement agencies at different levels. Second, we could launch information and awareness campaigns. We could do this by developing and implementing a comprehensive sex education curriculum or a program for all schools. And then we could integrate it to the current education system here in the Philippines. And then train the teachers on delivering age appropriate sex education. Last, and an important one, is to leverage on social media. The importance of taking advantage of technology nowadays can never be stressed upon enough. We should we should collaborate with media outlets, social media apps, and maybe even social media influencers because they have such great reach and influence among the victims of the issues mentioned. That's why, all in all, these are the recommended courses of action of the group. That's all po. Thank you.